What an opportunity we have today to start the promotion of the Distracted Driving Bus Tour, a program that the Tennessee Highway Safety Office and the Tennessee Highway Patrol have jointly worked together on and come up with that is serving as a national model. We're using this program all over the state. It's innovative. It involves our media partners, it involves our local government partners, and the two divisions of our department. Distracted driving, you'll hear from the Colonel here in just a minute, is probably the new drunk driving problem that we have and are experiencing. Some would say, and I would agree with them, that it's the biggest problem we have inside a vehicle now. I saw a lady yesterday on James Robertson Parkway, and she was driving beside me, and I happened to glance over, and she had her window down, and she had a cigarette in one hand and a Coke in the other one. Honest to goodness. And I mean, I looked and I thought, how is she driving that vehicle? But that's happening every day, and particularly with cell phones and the electronic devices that we have. So I appreciate you being here today. It's a collaborative effort, as you see from the partners that we have behind us. It's an effort that saves lives. We have so many accidents now that our troopers and our specialty investigation teams have to spend a lot of time on trying to find out what happened, when initially we can tell that it probably was some type of distracted driving and people have lost their lives. So I appreciate you being here, and I'm looking at the run of show here. It's my opportunity, my honor to introduce the Deputy Commissioner and Colonel of the Highway Patrol. It's something he's very passionate about, and I think you'll enjoy hearing from the top uniformed officer of the THP. Colonel.
Well, good morning. This is a great program that our Tennessee Highway Safety Office has put together along with the Highway Patrol to emphasize the problem of distracted driving. This is for awareness as much as it is education and enforcement. We hope to accomplish all those goals in this bus tour around the state. Distracted driving, as the Commissioner said, is, in my opinion, the #1 traffic safety issue in the country right now. Drunk driving has always been a serious issue for us, and it will continue to be. Seatbelt usage will continue to be a focus of ours, along with hazardous moving violations that kill people. But distracted driving is really at an epidemic portion. If you ride down the interstate nowadays, you'll see 7 or 8 or 10 people doing something in their car that takes away from their attention span in doing the most important job they have, which is driving safely. And we're not just talking about cell phones or electronic devices, although that's the major factor. Talking about, like the Commissioner said, eating, drinking, looking at a letter, typing on an iPad, reading a book, combing your hair, putting on makeup. I've seen all these things within the last 30 days. So it's a big problem. We can articulate that about 12% of our crashes are because of some sort of distraction. But I can tell you from our professional experience, that number is much higher. It's probably closer to 50%. 50% of our crashes are probably distracted driving related, although we can't articulate that with fact, because nobody walks up to you at a crash scene and admits it. No one raises their hand and says, my fault, I was looking at my cell phone, I hit that guy in the rear end. They don't do that. And I can tell you this, that we have about 1,000 people killed every year in Tennessee. We have over 500 one-car fatality crashes last year. That's 500 crashes that we really don't have any explanation for. They've run off the road, they've hit a tree or a fixed object or flipped over or done some sort of action that's killed them. And we have no explanation of why it happened. And I make this point to you today that many of them, probably most of them, are because of some sort of distraction. Looking away from the road, paying attention to something that you're not supposed to be doing, and running off the road and having some tragedy happen. If we could just solve the problem of distracted driving, we would lower our fatality rate drastically in Tennessee, probably by as much as 25 or 30%. So it's a huge problem for us. We're concerned about it. To be completely honest with you, we're having a difficult time getting our arms around the problem because it's so prevalent with so many age groups. It's not just the young kids, although they're the worst offenders. They don't think they can live without an iPhone in their hands. They text to people in the back seat, you know, when they can just talk. So it's a huge problem in that age group, and we do a lot of things educationally wise in our high schools and even in our middle schools to educate people about not driving distracted. But it's becoming a much bigger problem for our older generation now that they become addicted to iPhones and electronic devices. So it's not just a one generation problem. It reaches across all age groups, especially when you get into the fact that, you know, people are putting on makeup and combing your hair and eating a hamburger, trying to maximize their time as they drive down the road. But remember this, you know, the average text message or dial on a phone is about 4 seconds. You're looking away from the road for 4 seconds. You can travel the distance of many football fields at highway speed during that 4 seconds that you have no control of the direction of your car. And a lot of things can pop up in front of you, a lot of things that can happen that you won't be able to recover from. And I'll leave you with this. You know, 1 or 2 seconds can change your entire life. Whether you injure yourself where you're crippled or in a wheelchair, or you kill yourself or you kill someone innocently, it can change your life drastically. Something you're going to have to live with for the next 50 years. So I urge you to put your phones down. I urge you to pay attention to your primary responsibility, which is to get from point A to point B safely. I urge you to protect your family and protect all the other innocent drivers out on the roads by driving attentively. Thanks.
Thanks, Carl.
Oh, sorry.
Jason.
I'm Captain Jason Thompson. I'm a commander here of the 3rd District, the Nashville District. I want to thank all of our media partners for being here. Without y'all, it would be hard to get this out. Every fatality that comes through this district here in the Nashville District, I get a report of it. And there's so many that we read. I'm reading, there's a question that asks, would safety restraints made a difference? And there's so many that I see that say yes. Is that all these folks that partner with us from the trauma centers can tell all of y'all that there's so many things in this world that can kill us and get us that we can't control. Texting and driving, putting your makeup on, going down the interstate, whatever your distraction may be, or not buckling your seatbelt, is something we can control. And if it's something you can control to save your life, save your child's life, save a family member's life, we need to do that. There was, like the Colonel said, there's roughly 1,000 people in 2017 that did not think dying in a car crash could happen to them. And I guarantee as we stand here, there's 1,000 more people that's going to see this that don't think it can happen to them. Well, take it from us. It happens. And it happens in a way that we can avoid. All we have to do is think, be a little bit more mature about our driving habits. And just remember, there's no amount of makeup you can put on. There's no text message. There's no letter. There's no cigarette. There's no Coke. There's no type of food worth dying over in a car crash. With that being said, we're going to go out today and we're going to continue the effort to save lives. And we want the motoring public to know we do this because we care. We want folks to get home tonight and see their families. With that being said, it's my honor to introduce Director Vic Donahoe.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you all for being here, Colonel. Thank you for being here, Commissioner. I want to recognize Chief of Staff Dave McGriff. for being here. Deputy Director of the Highway Safety Office, Jason Ivey. The Administrator of the LEL program, Brenda Jones. Also Ashley Hambrick, our PIO somewhere. Ariel Tapson, and our Director of Communications, Megan Buell. Thank you all for being here. Today culminates a week-long distracted driving bus tour. Started out as an idea in 2017. The first one was held in April. It was a little rough around the edges. But with the Highway Patrol's help, the locals, and the coordination all across this state, these have been very, very successful. The media putting the word out. When you get on this bus and you see the drivers drive by this marked bus, texting on their phone, not paying attention, it is just overwhelming to see how distracted they really are. Not only does this concentrate on distracted driving, but yesterday up in Cookeville, they arrested an impaired driver. In another part of the state, they found a child that had been missing or abducted. So it's all encompassing. They're out here looking for not only distracted, but all violations of the law. So my message to the motoring public is some voluntary compliance. All the state troopers, all the law enforcement in this state cannot stop distracted driving, but you as a driver can stop distracted driving. So my message is arrive alive, don't text and drive. And I'm going to turn it over to Ariel.
Hi, my name is Ariel Tabson. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. And just wanted to recognize some specific partners that are here today that have supported this initiative since day one. And they represent the communities. They represent the buy-in that we need on the civilian level to help encourage drivers to change their behavior on the other side of it, more than just enforcement, but the way that it affects their families and the way that it affects what we see in the trauma centers. So I want to recognize the Montgomery County Driver Safety team. We also have AAA, the Auto Club group. We have the Tennessee District Attorneys General Conference represented here, as well as the Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt. We also have TriStar Horizon Medical Center. These are all representatives that are here because they are extremely passionate about helping to prevent the injuries and fatalities related to distracted driving, because it is such a prevalent issue and an epidemic, not only across Tennessee, it's a nationwide issue. So at this time, I'd like to introduce a special guest from Vanderbilt Trauma Center. He's a surgeon named Richard Betzold, and he'll speak on some of those issues and what they see.
Hey, good morning. So I'm really excited to represent Vanderbilt Trauma with Kathy Wilson and Melissa Smith, two of our amazing nurses. We're on the receiving end of thousands of trauma patients each year, and most of those are injured secondary to motor vehicle crashes. And because of that, prevention has become a huge part of our platform as trauma surgeons. And obviously seatbelts and airbags and all these things are extremely important, but we know that there are probably 20% of all the deaths in teenagers are related to distracted driving. And that's just the deaths, not just, it doesn't include all the other injured patients as well. And so because of that, I'm, humbled to be a part of a day that really stresses the prevention of distracted driving. And again, we're all excited to be here.
Thank you. One thing I failed to mention is, as this distracted driving tour went across the state, we had several local departments that decided to have their own distracted driving tour. And today at 9 o'clock, they started their own in Rutherford County, in Sumner County, and in Montgomery County, running simultaneously with the one that we're about to start. So it is a problem statewide. It's not local. It's not just here in Metro. It is a statewide problem, and as Colonel said, a nationwide problem. So let's go out and have some enforcement and allow the media to view and watch how distracted some drivers can really be.